Anthony Kennedy, Senior Judge of the Supreme Court of the United States. We are very honored to hear him speak to us. Judge Kennedy, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, Mr. President, my distinguished brothers and sisters in the judiciaries around this world, and friends of the rule of law, and advocates for the idea and the reality of the rule of law. It is my honor to be your guest, and in a sense also to welcome you here to New York and to our nation. Some years ago, about a decade and a half ago, in Vienna, it was my pleasure to host a conference of judges from 8 Eastern European countries, and we had just one judge from each country. It was very small. And we met for a day and a half or so. Afterwards, some students from the local college in Vienna were there, and we went out to greet them, and a young lady raised her hand, and she said, "There are 2 tragedies in my country. First, the rule of law is slipping away. Second, many seem to know this, but few seem to care." We have to remember, my friends, that the rule of law can be lost in many different ways. Hitler and Stalin attacked their own governments and then abrogated the rule of law. And other dictators, in more subtle ways, have attacked the rule of law frontally. But the rule of law can also be lost from indifference. We cannot be indifferent to the rule of law that protects our freedom. And my concern is that when people look at the United States, my own country, they do not always see a discourse, a conversation, a thoughtful interchange that is always respectful and dignified, maybe sometimes humorous. They don't see that much anymore. And it is our obligation in my country to show the rest of the world that the rule of law works and that it is necessary for our freedom. Freedom can be lost. We can see it in our own time. It's been lost in different countries in different ways. And Aristotle wrote about this. In Athens, he could see that freedom had been lost. The Americans think often, as they should, about their Constitution. And in the United States, when you say the word Constitution, people usually think of a capital C. The document that was drafted in 1787 and ratified and adopted in 1789. The document that has separation of powers, and then they had a Bill of Rights. The Constitution with a capital C. But there's also a Constitution with a small c. And that's the sum total of our mores, our manners, our customs, our beliefs, Mr. President, our aspirations, for protecting our freedom. And this is the small c Constitution. This is the small c Constitution that Hobbes and Locke and Rousseau refer to in their writings. And the small c Constitution and the large c Constitution in our country must sustain each other. And we do this, again, through a dialogue, a discourse. And it is the purpose of your meeting and of this meeting to enhance that discourse and to find better ways for all of us to make sure that the rule of law does not slip away, that it does not slip away through direct attack or through indifference. It is true, as the president said. In a way, we like to think that freedom is part of our DNA, but freedom must be taught. Freedom is not preserved on its own. It's a natural instinct, but one that can be ignored. And the purpose of your meeting here is to remind all of us, to remind ourselves, that we must always unite in assisting each other in finding better ways to reach closer to the idea of freedom, the freedom that is protected by the rule of law to which you are so devoted. Welcome, and we wish you the very best in your deliberations.